The email glowed on my screen like a toxic warning sign. My hands trembled as I read it again, hoping somehow the words would rearrange themselves into something less sinister. They didn't. My name is Sophia, and I just discovered my stepmother is trying to steal my inheritance. Regina, darling, I've spoken with James about restructuring Sophia's trust fund. He agrees the current arrangement is outdated. Once we modify the terms, we can ensure Zara's future is secure. Sophia has her career. She doesn't need the safety net like our girl does. I sat frozen in my father's home office, where I'd been searching for tax documents he'd asked me to find. Instead, I found this, my stepmother's email draft to her financial advisor, carelessly left open on the desktop. The house felt suddenly airless. Through the window, I could see Regina in the garden, tending to her precious roses like some innocent homemaker instead of the snake she really was. My mother had been dead for just 5 years, and already Regina was trying to dismantle everything she built for me. The front door clicked open. "Sophia, you still here, sweetie?" I quickly closed the email and grabbed the tax forms. "In here, Regina." She appeared in the doorway, all perfect makeup and practiced smile. "Did you find what your father needed?" I did. I held up the papers, studying her face. How many times had she smiled at me like that while plotting behind my back? "Actually, I'm glad you're here. I wanted to ask you something." "Of course, dear." She perched herself on the edge of the desk. "Who's James?" I watched her face carefully. The slight twitch in her left eye was the only tell. "James? Who?" "The financial advisor you've been emailing about my trust fund." The silence stretched between us like a rubber band about to snap. Then Regina laughed, a sharp, dismissive sound that set my teeth on edge. "Oh, that? You've been snooping through emails?" She waved her hand. "It's nothing for you to worry about. Just exploring some options to make things more equitable for everyone." "Equitable?" My voice rose. "That money is my inheritance. From my mother. Your mother's been gone for 5 years, Sophia. Things change. Families evolve. Zara's future needs to be considered too. Zara isn't entitled to my mother's money." "Lower your voice." Regina's smile vanished. "You're being dramatic. You have a good job, a nice apartment. Zara's just starting college. She needs security. So you're just going to take what's mine and give it to her?" I stood up, hands shaking. "Does Dad know what you're really planning? Your father trusts me to make the best decisions for this family. All of us." She stepped closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. "And let's be honest, what would he say if he knew you were sneaking around, reading private emails?" The threat was clear. I felt sick. "You won't get away with this." Regina's laugh was like ice water. "Get away with what? Making responsible financial decisions for my family? Go ahead, tell your father. See how it looks when his successful daughter tries to deny her college-bound sister a secure future. You'll come across as selfish and greedy." She was right. Dad would never believe Regina capable of manipulation. He was too blinded by love, too trusting. I'd seen it happen gradually over the past 5 years. Regina slowly positioning herself as the perfect wife, the voice of reason, the one he turned to for every decision. "My mother wanted me to have that money," I said, hating how weak my voice sounded. "Your mother isn't here anymore." Regina's words cut like a knife. "I am. And I'm doing what's best for everyone." She headed for the door, then paused. "Oh, and Sophia, don't forget we're having dinner on Sunday. Your father would be so disappointed if you didn't show up." After she left, I sank back into the chair, my mind racing. The trust fund wasn't just money. It was the last thing my mother had given me, her way of ensuring I'd always be taken care of. I could still remember her words from when she was sick. "No matter what happens, I've made sure you'll be okay." I pulled out my phone and scrolled through my contacts until I found Leonard's number. If anyone could help me fight this, it would be him. As I pressed dial, I caught sight of Regina through the window again, now hugging Zara, who had just pulled up in her new car. Another of Regina's recent family decisions. My free hand clenched into a fist. Regina thought she had all the power, had everything figured out. But she'd made one crucial mistake. She'd underestimate how far I would go to protect what was mine. Leonard's office always smelled like old books and coffee. I'd been here countless times before. He'd been my mother's lawyer and friend for years, but today felt different. Today, I wasn't just visiting. I was going to war. She wants to what? Leonard leaned forward, his coffee forgotten. Show me those emails again. I handed him my phone with the screenshots I'd taken. His frown deepened as he read. This is concerning, he said finally, but not entirely unexpected. Regina's been making inquiries about the trust for months. What? I nearly knocked over my own coffee. Why didn't you tell me? Attorney-client privilege. She's technically a trustee. He rubbed his temples. I've been blocking her attempts to access detailed information, but she's persistent. Can she do it? Can she actually take my inheritance? Leonard pulled out a thick folder from his drawer. Your mother was brilliant, Sophia. She set up this trust with multiple layers of protection. But, he hesitated, but what? There's a clause that allows for redistribution of assets if all trustees agree it's in the best interest of the family unit. My stomach dropped. All trustees meaning you, Regina, and your father. Leonard's eyes met mine. If Regina convinces your father, 2 against 1, I whispered. She's already working on him, isn't she? All those dinner conversations about family equality and Zara's future. There's more. Leonard flipped through some papers. Regina recently hired James Peterson. He's known for aggressive trust restructuring. He's good at finding loopholes. What kind of loopholes? The kind that could challenge your mental fitness to manage the trust, or argue that your mother's original intentions included providing for any future siblings. That's insane! I stood up, pacing. Mom never even met Zara. Sit down, Sophia. Leonard's voice was gentle but firm. We need to think strategically here. I dropped back into my chair. What are my options? First, we document everything. Every email, every conversation. Start recording interactions if you legally can. He pulled out a legal pad. Second, we might need to move some assets before they try anything. Is that legal? If we do it right. He started writing. Your mother set up a separate account that Regina doesn't know about. We could transfer some funds there as a safety net. A knock at the door interrupted us. Leonard's assistant poked her head in. Mr. Bailey, Mrs. Davidson is here to see you. My blood ran cold. Leonard looked equally surprised. Regina? She doesn't have an appointment. She says it's urgent. Leonard turned to me. Quick, through the side door. Text me later. I slipped out just as Regina's heels clicked down the hallway. Through the crack in the door, I heard her syrupy voice. Leonard, darling, I hope I'm not interrupting anything important. I pressed myself against the wall, heart pounding. Regina, what a surprise. What brings you here? Oh, just some concerns about the trust. I've noticed some unusual activity lately. I didn't stay to hear more. I crept down the back hallway, my mind racing. Regina was moving faster than we'd thought. She must have tracked my location or followed me here. Outside, I ducked into a coffee shop across the street and texted Leonard. What did she want? His response came 20 minutes later. Bad news. She's filing for an emergency trust review. Claims she has evidence of mismanagement. Meeting tomorrow with all trustees mandatory. My hands shook as I typed, What evidence? Don't know yet. But Sophia, she seemed very confident. Too confident. Another text followed. Whatever you do, don't confront her. We need to be smart about this. I stared out the window at Leonard's office building, watching Regina emerge with her designer handbag and perfectly styled hair. She paused on the steps, pulled out her phone, and smiled as she typed something. My own phone buzzed. A message from Regina. Family dinner tonight, sweetheart. Your father's cooking his famous lasagna. Don't be late. We have so much to discuss." The threat beneath her sweet words was clear. She was making her move, and she thought she had me cornered. I took a deep breath and texted Leonard one last time. "Need name of a good private investigator. Regina's hiding something. I can feel it." His response was immediate. "I know someone, but are you sure you want to go down this road? Once you start digging?" I thought about my mother, about all she'd sacrificed to provide for my future, about Regina's smug smile and casual cruelty. "I'm sure," I typed. "Whatever it takes." Looking up, I caught my reflection in the coffee shop window. For a moment, I saw my mother's determination in my eyes. She hadn't raised me to be a victim. Regina wanted to play games. Fine. But she was about to learn that she wasn't the only one who could fight dirty. Marlene's house hadn't changed in 20 years. The same wind chimes tinkled on the porch. The same lavender scent drifted from her garden. My mother's best friend opened the door before I could knock. "I knew you'd come," she said, pulling me into a fierce hug. "I've been waiting." "You have?" She led me into her cluttered living room. Leonard called, told me everything. She disappeared into another room, calling back, "Your mother knew this might happen, you know." I sank into the familiar floral couch. "What do you mean?" Marlene returned carrying a dusty wooden box. "Your mother wasn't just smart, Sophia. She was prescient." She set the box on the coffee table. "She knew exactly what kind of woman Regina was, even before your father married her." My hands trembled as I opened the box. Inside were journals, dozens of them, all in my mother's neat handwriting. "Read this one first." Marlene handed me a blue notebook. Page 43. I flipped to the page and started reading aloud. "If you're reading this, Sophia, it means Regina has finally shown her true colors. I've watched her circle your father like a vulture, waiting for me to die, but I've prepared for this." My voice cracked. Marlene squeezed my hand. "Keep reading." "There's an account at First National, number 847 Chaozu93. The password is the day we saw dolphins at sunset. Regina doesn't know about it, and neither does your father. Use it when the time comes." "Your mother was dying," Marlene said softly, "but she spent her last months setting up safeguards. She knew Regina would try to take everything." "Why didn't you tell me this before?" "Because you weren't ready. You needed to see Regina's true nature for yourself." Marlene pulled out another journal. "But there's more. Your mother documented everything. Regina's early manipulation, her financial schemes, even her first marriage." "First marriage?" This was news to me. "Oh, yes." Marlene's eyes glittered. "Regina was married before, to a wealthy businessman. He died under mysterious circumstances. She inherited everything, leaving his family with nothing." My phone buzzed. Another text from Regina. "Where are you? Dinner's getting cold." "I have to go," I said, standing. "Family dinner." "Take these." Marlene pressed the journals into my arms. "But be careful. Knowledge is power, but Regina's dangerous when cornered." I hugged her goodbye and rushed to my car. At a red light, I quickly texted Leonard, "Need you to look into Regina's first marriage." 20 minutes later, I walked into my father's house. The smell of lasagna filled the air, along with Regina's expensive perfume. "There you are," Regina trilled. "We were getting worried." Dad hugged me. "Everything okay, princess? You look flushed." "Just running late." I forced a smile. Had to finish some work stuff. Over dinner, Regina dominated the conversation, steering it toward Zara's college plans. "The tuition is astronomical these days," she sighed. "Thank goodness we're all family here, willing to help each other out." I caught her pointed look and took a sip of wine. "Speaking of family, Regina, tell me about your first husband." The clatter of her fork against the plate was satisfying. Dad looked confused. "First husband?" "Oh, didn't Regina tell you?" I kept my voice innocent. "I was just learning about her previous marriage today. Tragic story, wasn't it?" Regina's face went pale, then red. Ancient history, she said quickly. Not worth discussing. But family should share everything, right? I pressed. Isn't that what you're always saying? Sophia, Dad warned, but I could see the questions in his eyes. Regina stood abruptly. I'll get dessert. In the kitchen, my phone buzzed again. Leonard. Found something big about the first husband. Call me ASAP. I excused myself to the bathroom and called him immediately. Regina's first husband died of apparent heart failure, Leonard whispered. But his family tried to contest the will. They suspected poison, but couldn't prove it. Regina walked away with millions. My hands shook. Can we use this? Maybe. I'm still digging. But Sophia, be careful. If she realizes we know... I have to go, I interrupted, hearing footsteps. Text me details later. I returned to find Regina serving chocolate cake. Her hands steady, but her smile strained. Dad was unusually quiet. Everything okay? Regina asked too brightly. I thought of my mother's journals, of Regina's first husband, of all the secrets still buried. Perfect, I smiled back. You know how much I love family dinners. As I drove home that night, my phone lit up one last time. Regina, you're playing a dangerous game, little girl. Don't forget who holds all the cards. I touched my mother's journals on the passenger seat and smiled. Regina thought she was in control, but she had no idea what was coming. The game was just beginning. I want to withdraw from the trust, I announced, watching Regina's face carefully across Leonard's conference table. All of it. The satisfaction in her eyes was immediate, though she tried to hide it. Dad looked shocked. Honey, are you sure? That's your safety net. I've thought it through, I said, pulling out the paperwork Leonard had prepared. I want to invest in my own business. Start fresh. Regina placed a concerned hand on my father's arm. Alan, maybe this is for the best. Sophia's showing initiative. We should support her independence. Of course she was eager. This was exactly what she wanted. Me voluntarily giving up my claim to the money. Too bad she didn't know about the fake paperwork Leonard had crafted, or the real documents safely hidden away. The process will take about 2 weeks, Leonard explained, shooting me a subtle glance. There are several steps. 2 weeks? Regina interrupted. Surely we can expedite this? For family? Banking regulations, Leonard said smoothly. Can't bypass them. I signed the fake withdrawal forms with a flourish. I'm just glad we can all move forward. No more tension. Regina's smile was triumphant. This calls for a celebration. Dinner at La Maison tonight? My treat. Later that evening, I sat across from Regina at the expensive French restaurant, watching her order another bottle of champagne. Dad had begged off with a work emergency, all part of our plan. I must admit, Regina said, swirling her wine, I didn't expect you to be so reasonable about all this. People can surprise you, I smiled. Like your first husband's family. They weren't very reasonable, were they? The wine glass froze halfway to her lips. What exactly are you implying? Nothing. Just making conversation. Pass the bread. Her eyes narrowed slightly. You know, Sophia, life is full of unfortunate accidents. It's best not to dwell on the past. Is that a threat, Regina? A reminder. Family should stick together. Support each other. She leaned forward. Drop whatever you think you're doing. You've already signed the papers. Don't make things messy. My phone buzzed. A text from Hugh, the private investigator Leonard had hired. Found the medical records. Meeting in 20? Excuse me, I said, standing. Ladies' room. In the bathroom, I called Hugh immediately. The autopsy was rushed, he whispered. Regina's first husband had traces of digitalis in his system. Heart medication, but he wasn't prescribed any. The family's suspicions were right. Can we prove it? Working on it. But there's more. I found similar patterns in her college boyfriend's death. Same symptoms, same toxin. My hands shook as I gripped the phone. Send everything to Leonard. Returning to the table, I found Regina typing furiously on her phone. She looked up with a plastic smile. Everything okay, dear? Perfect. I reached for my purse. Actually, I'm not feeling well. Rain check? Of course. Her voice was honey-coated poison. Feel better, sweetie. Outside, another text from Hugh. Watch your back. Just found recent purchases on her credit card. Same pharmacy. Similar compounds. I rushed to my car, heart pounding. As I pulled out of the parking lot, I noticed Regina's car following at a distance. Amateur, I muttered, taking a series of random turns until she fell behind. My phone rang. Leonard. She's getting sloppy, he said without preamble. The investigators' findings are solid. We can take this to the police. Not yet, I replied. She needs to think she's winning. Did you set up the account transfer alert? Yes. When the fake withdrawal processes next week, she'll get notification that the money's moving. That's when she'll make her move. And we'll be ready. I parked outside my apartment, checking carefully before getting out. Inside, I pulled out my mother's journals again, flipping to a page I'd marked. Regina's weakness is her confidence. She thinks she's smarter than everyone else. Use that. My phone lit up with a final text from Regina. Such a lovely dinner. Shame you weren't feeling well. I made you a special tea for your stomach. Dropped it off at your apartment. Check your doorstep. XXO. I opened my door carefully. There was a small package wrapped in ribbon. I took a photo and texted it to Hugh. Evidence bag. Pick up in 10. Then I texted Regina. Thanks for the tea. Can't wait to try it. Let her think she was in control. Let her believe her carefully laid plans were working. In just a few days, she would learn what real poison felt like. The kind that destroys not just bodies, but entire lives. I smiled, thinking of the security cameras I'd had installed in my apartment last week. Every move, every gift, every accident would be documented. Regina wasn't just going to lose. She was going to destroy herself. The knock on my apartment door came at midnight. I checked the security camera feed on my phone. It was Zara, mascara streaked down her face. Can I come in? She asked when I opened the door. Mom and I had a fight. I hesitated. This wasn't part of the plan. But Zara looked genuinely distraught. And despite everything, she was still my stepsister. Sure, I said, letting her in. Tea? She collapsed onto my couch. Got anything stronger? You're 18. Please, I need something to take the edge off. I poured us both ginger ale instead. Want to talk about it? Mom's been acting weird, Zara blurted out. Ever since you agreed to withdraw from the trust. She's making all these plans for my future, talking about expensive colleges, but... She twisted her hands in her lap. I already got accepted to state. Full scholarship. I nearly dropped my glass. What? I applied in secret. I want to study social work, help people. But Mom says it's beneath me. Zara's voice cracked. When I told her tonight, she lost it. Said I was throwing away everything she'd worked for. Everything she'd worked for. The words sent a chill down my spine. Does she know you're here? Zara shook her head. I turned off my phone's location. I don't understand her sometimes. It's like she's obsessed with this perfect life she's planned, but it's not what I want. My phone buzzed. Hugh. Lab results back on the tea. Definitely toxic. Police want to move. I quickly typed back, not yet. New development. Sophia? Zara was looking at me strangely. Can I tell you something? Of course. I found something in Mom's drawer last week. Papers about her first husband. Zara's voice dropped to a whisper. There were newspaper clippings about his death, and a small bottle with no label. My heart stopped. Did you tell anyone else about this? No, but... Her phone suddenly rang, making us both jump. Regina's name flashed on the screen. Don't! I started, but Zara had already answered. Mom, I'm fine. Yes, I'm at Sophia's. No, you don't need to. We heard the elevator ding in the hallway. She was already on her way, Zara said, pale-faced. She tracked my phone anyway. The pounding on my door started seconds later. Sophia, open up. I know my daughter's in there. I grabbed Zara's arm. Listen to me quickly. That bottle you found, is it still there? Yes, hidden behind her jewelry box. Why? Don't touch it. Don't let her know you saw it. And whatever you do, don't eat or drink anything she gives you. Zara's eyes widened. What are you saying? The pounding grew louder. I'm calling the police, Regina shouted. I opened the door. Regina burst in looking wild-eyed and disheveled, a far cry from her usual polished self. How dare you turn my daughter against me, she snarled. Mom! Zara stood up. Sophia didn't do anything. I came here on my own. Get your things. We're leaving. Regina grabbed Zara's wrist. Let go of her, I said quietly. She's an adult. She can make her own choices. Regina's laugh was hysterical. Choices? Like you made the choice to give up your trust fund? We both know that was my doing. I won, Sophia. I always win. Mom, what are you talking about? Zara pulled away, looking horrified. Nothing, sweetie. Your sister's just bitter about... About what? I interrupted. About you trying to steal my inheritance? Or about you killing your first husband? The room went deadly quiet. What? Zara whispered. Regina's face transformed into something ugly. You have no proof. Actually, we do. The police are very interested in that special tea you left on my doorstep. Regina lunged for her purse, but I was faster. I grabbed it, dumping the contents onto the floor. A small vial rolled out. More tea, Regina? Zara backed away from her mother. Oh my God, the bottle in your drawer. Were you going to... Everything I did was for you, Regina screamed, to give you the life you deserve. By killing people? Zara was crying now. By poisoning my sister? My phone buzzed again. Hugh. Police en route. Keep her talking. It's over, Regina, I said. The trust fund, the schemes, all of it. You lost. She smiled then, a terrible, empty smile. You think you've won? You have no idea what I'm capable of. I've destroyed better people than you. Maybe, I agreed. But you forgot one thing. My mother taught me to keep my enemies closer than my friends. The police burst through the door at that moment, but I barely noticed. I was watching Zara, who stood trembling between her mother and me, forced to choose between blood and truth. Sometimes revenge doesn't taste like victory. Sometimes it tastes like tears and broken trust and the bitter recognition that justice comes at a price. But as they led Regina away in handcuffs, I knew some prices were worth paying. The police station interrogation room was colder than I expected. Hugh sat beside me, reviewing his notes while Detective Morris paced the room. Let me get this straight, Morris said. You deliberately set up a sting operation without contacting us first? We needed proof, Hugh explained, and we got it. The tea was laced with digitalis, same as her first husband's case, which was 20 years ago, Morris pointed out. Cold cases are hard to prove. The door opened, and Leonard rushed in, clutching a thick folder. Not this one. Look what I just got from the medical examiner's office. He spread photos across the table, medical reports, toxicology screens, handwritten notes. The original ME flagged inconsistencies, Leonard said, pointing to highlighted sections. But Regina's lawyers buried the reports. I found his personal notes in storage. He suspected foul play, but was pressured to rule it natural causes. Morris leaned in, suddenly interested. And the college boyfriend? Same pattern, Hugh added. Digitalis poisoning masked as heart failure. Regina inherited everything through a recently changed will. A knock at the door interrupted us. An officer poked his head in. Detective, Regina's lawyer is here, and you need to see this. We followed Morris into the observation room. Through the one-way glass, we could see Regina sitting with her lawyer, her perfect composure finally cracking. They have nothing, she was saying. It's all circumstantial. They have the tea, Regina, her lawyer replied wearily. The toxicology report came back positive, and your daughter's testimony about finding the bottle. Zara, Regina's voice rose. She wouldn't dare testify against me. I'm her mother. She already did. Signed her statement an hour ago. Regina's face contorted. That ungrateful little... She caught herself, smoothing her expression. I want to make a deal. Morris smiled grimly. Now we're getting somewhere. My phone buzzed. A text from Zara. Dad's here. He needs to see you. I found my father in the waiting area, looking like he'd aged 10 years overnight. Is it true? He asked before I could speak. All of it? Yes. He slumped in his chair. The detective showed me everything. The evidence, the pattern of deaths, the trust fund scheme. His voice broke. How did I not see it? She was good at hiding who she really was. Was she? He looked up, eyes red. Or was I just willing to be fooled? After your mother died, I was so desperate not to be alone. Another officer approached us. Ms. McKenzie, Regina's asking to speak with you. Absolutely not, Dad started, but I touched his arm. It's okay. I want to hear what she has to say. Regina looked smaller somehow, sitting handcuffed to the table. Her makeup was smeared, her designer outfit wrinkled. Come to gloat? She asked as I sat down. No, I came to understand why. She laughed bitterly. Why? Because I could. Because taking things from people who don't deserve them gives me joy. Your mother had everything. Money, love, respect. And what did she do with it? Left it all to her precious daughter. So you thought you'd just take it. I took what I wanted my entire life, Sophia. That's how you get ahead. She leaned forward. Your mother was weak. She trusted people. Look where that got her. My mother was stronger than you'll ever be. Really? Regina's smile was cruel. Then why is she dead while I'm still here? I stood up slowly. You're not here, Regina. You're going to prison. Everything you stole, everything you killed for, it's all gone. And the funny thing is, Zara never even wanted it. Don't you dare speak her name! Regina lunged forward, but the handcuffs held her back. Everything I did was for her. No. Everything you did was for yourself. As I turned to leave, she called out, You think this is over? I still have friends, resources. This isn't the end. I paused at the door. Actually, it is. While you were in here, Leonard filed emergency papers freezing all your accounts. The trust fund transfer was fake. My mother's money is safe. And those resources you mentioned, they're being investigated too. Regina's face went slack with shock. Oh, and Regina, I added, my mother left you a message in her journal. She wrote, Some people spend their lives taking. But what they don't realize is that karma doesn't just come for you. It comes for everything you've built. I walked out, leaving her screaming behind me. In the hallway, Dad and Zara were waiting. Ready to go home? Dad asked softly. I looked at them both, my father, finally seeing clearly, and my stepsister, choosing truth over loyalty. Maybe home wasn't just a place. Maybe it was the people who stood by you when everything fell apart. Yeah, I said, let's go home. The courthouse buzzed with tension as Regina was let in, wearing an orange jumpsuit instead of her usual designer clothes. 6 months had passed since her arrest, and today was the final hearing. All rise, the bailiff called. I sat between Dad and Zara in the front row, watching Regina's face as the judge entered. She hadn't stopped trying to manipulate people, even from jail. Last week, she'd attempted to bribe a guard to lose key evidence. The week before, she'd tried to have one of her old friends threaten Zara into changing her testimony. None of it worked. Before we proceed with sentencing, the judge began. Would the defendant like to make a statement? Regina stood, chains clinking. Your Honor, I've been painted as a monster, but everything I did was for my family. My daughter— Don't! Zara's voice cut through the courtroom. She stood up, hands shaking. Don't you dare use me as an excuse. Miss Davidson, the judge warned, please sit down. No. Zara stepped into the aisle. I need to say this. She turned to Regina. You killed people. You tried to steal from my sister. You were going to poison her, just like you poisoned your first husband. And you did it all while telling me you loved me. Regina's mask cracked. Everything was for you. The only person you ever cared about was yourself, Zara shot back. I read your journals. The real ones. The ones the police found in your safety deposit box. You wrote about how much you enjoyed watching people die, slowly, thinking it was their heart failing. You called it poetic justice, that they trusted you until the end. The courtroom fell silent. Regina's lawyer looked like he wanted to disappear. Your Honor, Regina tried again, my daughter is clearly confused. The evidence speaks for itself, the judge interrupted. 2 confirmed murders, 1 attempted murder, multiple counts of fraud, attempted witness tampering. He peered over his glasses. Ms. Regina Davidson, this court sentences you to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Regina screamed, lunging toward us. This is your fault, she shrieked at me. You turned my own daughter against me. You're just like your mother, always thinking you're better than everyone else. The bailiffs grabbed her arms as she thrashed. I should have killed you when I had the chance. I should have removed the defendant, the judge ordered. As they dragged her away, Regina locked eyes with me one last time. This isn't over, she mouthed, but it was. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed us. Dad stepped in front of Zara protectively while Leonard handled the press. The family requests privacy during this difficult time, he announced. Justice has been served, and they wish to move forward. My phone buzzed. A text from Hugh. Check your email. Found something you need to see. Later that evening, we gathered at Dad's house. Me, Dad, Zara, Leonard, and Hugh. The house felt different now, cleansed of Regina's presence. Her precious roses had been replaced with my mother's favorite sunflowers. What did you find? I asked Hugh. He opened his laptop. Regina's first victim wasn't her husband. Look at this. The screen showed an old newspaper article. Tragic accident claims life of wealthy widow. Regina was her caregiver, Hugh explained. The woman changed her will 2 days before she died, left everything to her dear friend Regina instead of her family. How many others? Dad asked quietly. We're still investigating, but at least 3 more suspicious deaths, all with similar patterns. Zara stood abruptly. I need some air. I followed her onto the porch. She was staring at the sunflowers, tears streaming down her face. I keep thinking, she whispered, what if she had succeeded? What if you had drunk that tea? I would have lost you and I wouldn't even have known the truth. I hugged her tightly, but she didn't succeed. We stopped her. Together, Zara added, managing a small smile. Dad joined us, holding a familiar wooden box. I found this in the attic. Your mother's old photos. We sat on the porch steps, flipping through memories. Mom at the beach, laughing. Mom in the garden, covered in dirt but beaming. Mom holding baby me, love radiating from her smile. She would be proud of you, Dad said softly. Both of you. My phone buzzed one last time. A notification from the prison. Regina had been processed and assigned to maximum security. What happens now? Zara asked. I looked at our strange, broken, healing family, Dad finding his strength again, Zara choosing her own path, me finally at peace with the past. Now we live, I said, not in her shadow anymore. The setting sun painted the sunflowers gold, just like Mom always loved. Somewhere, I hoped she was watching, knowing that her daughter had not only survived, but thrived. Regina had tried to destroy us. Instead, she'd made us stronger. The autumn breeze rustled through the sunflowers as I unlocked the front door of my new counseling center. The sign above read, Second Chances Foundation. Funded by my mother's trust and dedicated to helping victims of family abuse. Zara was already inside, arranging pamphlets in the waiting room. She'd finished her social work degree early and joined me as our youth counselor. First client arrives in an hour, she said, straightening a picture frame. My mother's photo now watched over our work. Are you ready? Born ready. I checked my phone. Another message from the prison warden. Regina had tried to send another letter. Like all the others, it went straight into evidence storage, unopened. The door chimed, and Leonard walked in, carrying a thick folder. Ladies, we've got another one. He spread photos across the reception desk. An elderly woman with her young caregiver, bank statements showing suspicious transfers, medical reports with concerning patterns. Just like Regina's playbook, Zara murmured. Exactly. Leonard pointed to the caregiver's photo. She was Regina's cellmate for 2 months, got released last week, and immediately found a vulnerable target, I added. Have you contacted the police? Better. Hugh's already investigating. We caught it early this time. The door chimed again. A teenage girl entered, clutching her backpack like a shield. Behind her, Hugh gave us a subtle nod. One of his cases, then. Someone who needed help escaping a toxic family situation. I'm Sarah, the girl whispered. The detective said you could help me? Zara stepped forward with her gentle smile. That's exactly what we do here. Come on back. As they disappeared into the counseling room, Dad arrived with coffee for everyone. He'd retired from his corporate job and now handled our foundation's finances. Busy morning? He asked, noting the scattered photos. Regina's influence spreading, even from prison. I showed him the case file. But we're stopping it, one case at a time. Your mother would be proud. He touched the frame holding her photo. She always said the best revenge is living well and helping others. My phone buzzed. Hugh had texted an update. Target secured. Caregiver arrested. Elderly woman safe. Another one down, I said, showing Dad the message. Leonard gathered the files. I'll add it to the pattern evidence. The more cases we document, the better we can protect future victims. A sob from the counseling room made us all turn. Through the window, I could see Sarah crying while Zara held her hand. Not tears of pain, tears of relief. The kind that came with finally feeling safe, finally being heard. Remember when that was me? Zara asked later, after Sarah had left with a safety plan and Hugh's direct number. Scared, confused, not wanting to believe the truth about someone I loved. You were stronger than you knew, I said. We all were. She straightened another pamphlet. Even Dad, especially Dad. The afternoon brought more clients, children of manipulative parents, elderly victims of caregiver abuse, families torn apart by lies, each story different, each pain unique, but all connected by the same thread of betrayal Regina had woven through our lives. But here, in this space, healing happened. Truth prevailed. Strength grew. Last appointment, Zara announced as an elderly man arrived with his grandson. Possible financial exploitation case. As I led them to my office, I caught sight of my reflection in the window. I saw my mother's determination in my eyes, her compassion in my smile. The inheritance she'd protected wasn't just money. It was her spirit, her wisdom, her love of justice. Regina had tried to take everything from us. Instead, she'd given us purpose. The elderly man began his story. Familiar patterns emerging of trust betrayed, money stolen, family bonds weaponized. But this time, thanks to our foundation, his story wouldn't end in tragedy. You're safe now, I told him. The same words I wish someone had told my father years ago. We know exactly what to do. Later, locking up the office, I looked at our little family. Dad reviewing budgets, Zara organizing tomorrow's files, Leonard and Hugh discussing strategy. Above us, Mom's photo seemed to glow in the setting sun. My phone buzzed one last time. The prison warden. Regina requested another appeal, denied. I didn't bother responding. Regina's power was gone, transformed into something stronger. Our power to help, to heal, to protect. Ready to go? Dad called. I looked around our foundation, at all we built from the ashes of Regina's destruction, at all the lives we'd helped save. Ready, I said, and stepped into the future we'd chosen, not as victims, but as warriors for truth. Some people spend their lives taking. We'd spend ours giving back. That was the best revenge of all.